Okay, we are on chapter 19. The entire Vanderbeeker family was sprawled around the living room when Papa's cell phone rang. He answered it, and the kids abruptly quieted when they heard him say, hello, Mr. Biderman, how are you? There was a pause, then, oh, really? The last 2 mornings? I had no idea. Papa cast a you have a lot of explaining to do look in the kids' direction, while Mama leaned in close to the phone. The Vanderbeeker kids gave each other uneasy glances before backing up in the direction of the stairs. I'm very surprised, Papa continued, glaring at his kids. This doesn't sound like them. You saw them out your window? I see. I will definitely talk with them. That is completely unacceptable, and I'm very sorry. Papa's glare at his retreating children intensified as he pointed one stern finger at them, then to a spot on the ground 1 foot away from him. I'm sorry, Mr. Biderman. The sudden move has been hard on them. I'm sure you can understand that. The kids arrived at the designated spot in front of Papa and stared at the ground. Yes, of course. We will be out by December 31st, maybe earlier. Again, I'm sorry. Mr. Biderman, I hope you have a happy holiday. Papa stopped and looked down at the phone screen. The man just hung up on me, Papa muttered. He set his phone on top of the side table, then turned slowly to face the kids. Anything you want to tell me, Papa asked, looking at each one of his kids. No one said anything. That was Mr. Biderman, Papa said. He told me about a petition that you kids put together. He is very, very upset. Isa twisted her fingers together. Jessie looked straight ahead at a crack in the brownstone wall. Oliver's eyes darted to each of his siblings in panic. Hyacinth's eyes filled with tears as she reached down to stroke Frances' ears. Lainey was the only one looking up at Papa, with glum brown eyes. Mr. Biderman is furious, not only about the petition, but because someone, and from the way he described her, it sounded like it might be your friend Allegra, figured out his phone number and circulated it throughout the neighborhood. The twins grimaced while Papa continued. People have been calling him all day, demanding that he renew our lease. He had to disconnect his phone. Hyacinth held her breath, waiting for Papa to bring up the kitten, but he didn't. Oliver spoke up. We thought it would encourage him to let us stay if he knew how many people loved us in this neighborhood. He explained, I know you kids love the brownstone. Your mama and I love it too. But you cannot do things like this. It's hurtful to Mr. Biderman, and I expect you all to apologize. You will each write him a note and slide it under his door. Please do not disturb him anymore. The petition was my idea, Isa said, a flush covering her cheeks. We didn't know Allegra would have people call him, she added quickly. I just wanted to show the Biderman how important this place is to us. I can see how the petition was wrong. I'm sorry. I'm really, really sorry. Isa looked at her siblings. Hyacinth's face was pale. Lainey was openly crying. Jessie was yanking at a loose thread on her t-shirt, and Oliver was grinding the toe of his sneaker into the wooden floor. Isa took a deep breath. We have something else to tell you, Isa said. Oliver glanced at her in panic and shook his head briskly. Isa glanced away from him. We did something else. Papa dropped his head as if he couldn't handle more bad news. Mama sighed and crossed her arms over her chest. We sent away a man who came to look at our apartment, Isa said in a whisper. I told him he was walking the wrong direction, Oliver jumped in, but I didn't feel good about it. There was a long pause while Papa and Mama communicated with their eyes. This is a fine mess, Papa finally said. Not only are you getting extra chores for a week, but you will each write a letter of apology to Mr. Biderman. And you will also confess what you did with the prospective tenant in person. But Papa, protested Jessie. No excuses, Mama said. We're disappointed in you. Okay, Papa, said Isa, her voice trembling. I'll make sure we apologize, right? She felt the weight of failure hanging heavy on her. Failing to convince the Biderman that they were worth keeping, failing to hold on to their home, failing her parents, failing. Papa finally broke the silence. I know this has been hard on you kids, he said. I wish I could have... He paused and shook his head, but instead of finishing his sentence, he opened out his arms and Isa fell onto him, sobs pouring out of her. After a moment, the other kids and Mama gathered in, mourning all the things they could not hold on to. The Vanderbeeker kids headed upstairs to Isa and Jessie's bedroom, where the only sound was the rattle of the windows in their frames from the winter winds. Isa still refused to look at or speak to Jessie. Hyacinth helped Lainey write, I'm sorry, love Lainey, before writing her own apology letter. Jessie watched Isa slip the CD she had made for the Biderman into an envelope. When everyone was done, they trudged upstairs. Hyacinth was relieved to see that the kitten and the box were gone. The Vanderbeeker kids took turns sliding their letters of apology under the door. Oliver pushed through Mr. Rochester's business card last. A sticky note was attached to the card with a hasty scribble on it that said, He's the right guy for the brownstone. Who's ready for Christmas? Auntie Harrigan and Uncle Arthur were waiting in the living room with huge smiles, tinsel draped around their necks, and Santa hats on their head. When the Vanderbeekeers returned from their trip to the Biderman's apartment, Auntie Harrigan, oh, she has a kind of funny name, I might be saying it wrong, had altered her hair again. This time it was dyed bright red and cut super short and spiky. Uncle Arthur had grown a grizzly beard and was wearing a plaid flannel work shirt with paint-splattered jeans. They were holding piles of presents, all wrapped decadently in striped paper and abundant ribbons. The kids tried their best to look happy. "I must admit it," said Auntie Harrigan as she pulled the kids in for a hug. "I'm not used to such glum reactions when you could see me. Did I forget someone's birthday, miss an important dance concert, or a basketball game?" The kids shook their heads, then only one by one, and they told her the story of the Biderman and the move. Auntie Harrigan, who had already heard about their impending move from Papa, set herself down on a cardboard box full of packed books and listened to every word. After the kids finished, there was a prolonged period of silence while Auntie Harrigan chewed on her lip deep in thought. The kids watched her, hoping she might have the perfect solution for them. Finally, Auntie Harrigan sighed. "I'm sorry, kids. I wish I knew how to help you, but I'm very, very proud of you. I think those nice things you did for Mr. Biderman were meaningful to him, even if he doesn't seem like it." The kids nodded, unbelieving. Auntie Harrigan stood up and clapped her hands. "If it's going to be the last Christmas Eve dinner here, we better make it really, really great. Your mom told me that you ladies," she smiled at the twins, "are cooking for us tonight. What a treat." Oliver mimed gagging motions that everyone ignored. The twins went back to dinner preparations while Auntie Harrigan taught the other kids how to draw armadillos. Franz, excited about the visitors and the general chaotic state of the apartment, could not keep still. After he drooled on her drawing multiple times, Lainey took charge. "Franz, come," she said sternly, jabbing her finger at the floor next to her. Franz ignored her. He only answered to Hyacinth. Paganini, however, bolted from his shoebox and skidded to a stop at Lainey's feet. "Good boy," Lainey said to her bunny, thrilled. Auntie Harrigan's jaw dropped. "Does that bunny know commands?" Oliver scoffed. "That bunny, his brain, is the size of an acorn." Lainey looked like she was either going to protest or burst into tears, but she was saved from both when Mama entered the living room with an announcement. "I just got off the phone with Miss Josie," Mama called out. "Change of plans. We're going to gather in their apartment for dinner." "We thought it would be easier given," Mama gestured at the mess of boxes stacked in unstable piles throughout the living room. Auntie Harrigan accompanied Mama to the second floor to help set up, while Papa and Uncle Arthur carried up a long folding table, followed by a dozen folding chairs. Lainey put Paganini in his carrier, detained only briefly by Mama, who unsuccessfully tried to make a case that Paganini would be more comfortable at home. The twins went to their living room to change clothes. Oh, went to their room, not the living room. That would be weird. When Uncle Arthur came down to retrieve more chairs, he caught Oliver examining the food. "What's the verdict?" he asked. Oliver knew Uncle Arthur was referring to Oliver's running tally of the twins' edible versus inedible meals. The twins were currently at 43% success rate. "I'm scared to try it," Oliver replied, poking at a piece of blackened vegetable. "Come on, how bad could it be? When I was little, your grandma made us eat fried rabbit livers with pepper jelly. You kids have it easy. We got blackened vegetables on the good days." Oliver dipped the ladle into the beef stew. "I won't tell Lainey and Hyacinth that you're a rabbit killer if you eat this bite of stew. And no spitting it out." He held the ladle up to his uncle. "Double dog dare." "Ha," Uncle Arthur scoffed. "Easiest dare ever." He took the ladle from Oliver and tipped it into his mouth. There was a pause as his mouth adjusted to the taste. Then he sprinted to the sink and spit it out. "Salty. Need water," he gasped, gulping water directly from the faucet spout. When he recovered, he turned to Oliver. "You win." "At least the bread's from Castleman's," Oliver offered. "Bread and water for dinner," said Uncle Arthur. How Dickensian. No, I think he means like Charles Dickens, but I have no idea how to say that. So much for their last Christmas Eve in the brownstone. All right. Okay, just spoiler alert, the next chapter is about Christmas Eve, so it does get better, but that one was also, I feel like the end of the book is less positive, but then it gets better at the end. So don't lose all hope. I hope you enjoyed that chapter. Bye, Hannah.